Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Stephanie, and I've been an online reseller since 2002. This is my Happy Meal toy, Nova, and in today's video, I'm answering your questions about eBay. So a few weeks ago on my Instagram page, I asked what questions that you have on eBay, because it seems like a lot of people are afraid to sell on this platform, and it is true, it is a lot harder to sell on eBay versus Mercari, Poshmark, and Facebook Marketplace or other platforms. But I do make about half of my total sales on eBay, so if you're not selling there, you are missing out on a huge audience. Most people, I think, when they think of reselling or buying something used or secondhand, they do think of eBay. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to talk about my eBay experience. So I have been selling on eBay since 2002. That's right, so that was the year I graduated high school. I was 17 years old. And back then, eBay was really simple. It was pretty much the only online selling platform that you can use. Other than something like Craigslist or the newspaper, the Thrifty Nickel, that was really the only places that you had to advertise an item for sale. And it was just auctions back then. And digital cameras really were not a thing. In fact, they were very expensive. Really nobody had them. So most people did not have pictures at all in their listings. It was just text-based. You described your item as best as you could. And it was auctions only. And so when I started on eBay, the things that I started selling were McDonald's toys, because I figured out that I could put a McDonald's toy on a flatbed scanner, which is what we had, and I could scan in that toy so I could have a picture of what the item was. And also, this is 2002. PayPal wasn't really a big thing yet, and a lot of people didn't trust using their credit cards on the internet. So a lot of the times I would have to wait until I got a money order or a check, yes, a personal check. You know those things that people write on an IOU? You would have to wait for those to come in the mail and then wait 7 days for that check to clear before you would send out your item. It was a pretty wild time. It's come a long way since then, but a lot of what the platform has is still kind of stuck in the olden ages, and because of that, it's not as easy to use as some of these newer platforms that have come out since then. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions. Let's get started. Okay, this first question is from Accutek Scale 25, and they ask, why do drafts disappear? I wish we were informed beforehand. Okay, you can have up to 250 draft listings at any one time, but they do disappear after 75 days. Now, personally, I don't really use drafts a whole lot, so I personally haven't had a big problem with drafts disappearing. So what I do when I'm creating a listing is I usually just go up from start to finish. The only time I use a draft is like when I am running a comp on something and I want to save some of that information, like if there is a model number or something that was harder to find and I want to save the price possibly, I will save that draft and then later on go through and complete that listing. Okay, this question is from April and Jules Vintage, and they ask, my biggest thing is, do I list an auction or not? And if so, what price do I start at and for how long? It freaks me out a little bit. Okay, so I do have a whole entire video on how I run comps and how I price items, and I will put that link down below. I personally use buy it now for pretty much anything unless it's a collectible item or something that you think you're going to have two buyers at the same time really buying for. Other than that, buy it now because most people want their item now. If I do an auction, I typically do it for 10 days. That way my item has the most time to collect the most lookers and watchers and hopefully buyers on that item. Okay, and what price do you start at? If you're doing an auction, I would start out at the lowest price that you would accept. I'm not a huge fan of 99-cent auctions or something like that, because what if the item sells for 99 cents? Are you going to be happy with that profit? Probably not. You're going to lose money at 99 cents. So just start out with what you're going to be happy to get. Okay, this question is from humanlease.shop, and they said, this is a tough one for me to set up, but a listing with multiple variations in prices. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is if you have the multiples of the same exact item. So if you have multiple Lego sets of the same exact Lego set, this is what you're going to do. You're going to scroll down past your description, past your buy it now, and then you're going to enter the quantity. Whatever you have, 2, 3, whatever you want to put, go ahead and enter that in. Now, you do want to be careful. If you relist this item and you have already sold some of that quantity, you need to go back in and edit that quantity. So if you have sold one of your 3 and you have relisted it, you need to edit that quantity back to 2. Okay, and the next one I'm going to show you is how to do a multi-quantity listing with something that's slightly different. So let's, again, using that Lego descriptor. If you have many different Lego minifigs and you want to make one listing that has like all 10 different variations that you have, here's how you would do it. Now, variations are only available in select categories, so if you don't see this option, it's because it's not available in that category. And you should either change your category, or what I personally would rather do is just make a completely separate listing. And personally, I have never used this. I am a fan of just creating a separate listing for an item because I think it's just going to increase the chances that your item's going to get found. Instead of just saying like Lego minifigs is like the generic title, if you can put in exactly what it is and those titles, I think you have a better chance of your item being found. Anyways, this is how you go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you just really quickly how you can access that. You're just going to click Create Variations, and then you can select either color, manufacturer, part number, item height. You can click whatever one you'd want so you can have the different attributes, the different selections, or you can add your own, create your own, and just name it whatever you'd like. Okay, then you're just going to go through the different screens that's gonna show you on there. Now, I've really never used this before, so I'm not going to go into that. I think if you're selling one-off items, it's better just to create a whole new listing. I think the only time this is really helpful is if you have if you do like retail arbitrage or something like that, where you're going to have multiple variations, like maybe you have multiple variations of a soap or a body wash or something like that. But again, personally, I'd rather just create a whole new listing. I think it gives you more exposure that way. Okay, this next question is from Firefly Whimsy, and they ask, what is the importance of item specifics? Is it better to fill out more? Also, SEO words, and does word order matter? Okay, for item specifics, eBay is going to require you to fill in a set number of items specifics. Some of them are kind of crazy. I personally only fill in the required ones and the ones that I think buyers are going to search for. Some of them are just completely nonsense and they're just time wasters, and they do not even show up when you search for an item. So I don't even fill those out. And also, I would only fill out the things that you know to be true. So like, if you don't know the exact height and width of an item, honestly, I don't fill those kinds of things out, because I just kind of believe that the less you say, kind of the better, and anything you can and will say will be used against you in a court of law kind of idea. Obviously, you want to be truthful in your descriptions. Obviously, you want to describe your items. But I think sometimes people over-describe their items, and if a buyer wants to claim an in ad, all they have to do is go look at your listings and find where you made a mistake. Okay, that's just the way I look at it. And also, like I said, a lot of those things don't even show up, and buyers are not even looking for those kinds of descriptors. Okay, so SEO is search engine optimization. That's how Google and other search engines are going to find your item. So if somebody is not on eBay and they're just searching for, let's say, a Dakin Brown bear or something like that, and you want your item to show up, you need to have the correct keywords, okay? Okay, does order of the words matter? Yes, but don't get hung up on the order of the words that you have. To me, what's more important is having all the keywords in your title. Okay, so what things should go in your title? It should be things like brand, color, style, if it's something for men or women or kids. Put that, possibly the year if it's something that's vintage. Don't waste your titles with like abbreviations like NWT or VTG. Nobody is searching for those things. Those are just fillers on your listing. Okay, so you also want to use all of your character spaces that you have. You have 80 characters that you can use on your eBay title. If you find that you don't know what to write, go look at somebody else's eBay listings that have already sold, because those people did something right. So look to see what descriptors they have used. Also think about, well, if my mom or dad was buying this and they were just looking on eBay and they didn't know what it was, how would they look for it? Because they may not know the brand or the name of the item, but they might type in something like, if it's a blanket, they might type in blue soft or blue plush or something like that. So kind of think about, if somebody doesn't remember what it is and they're just going off of a vague memory, or if they were playing telephone, how would your item be described? Think about things like that. Okay, this next question is from Coffee Dogkins, and it says, can you talk about selling through promoted listings and do you recommend it? Okay, so I do promoted listings. About 1 to 2% is what I promote most of my items at. And I do think it's important if you sell something that's in a really saturated market or something that there's more competition on. Now, if you have something that's like a really unique item, a truly rare item, or if there's not that many that are gonna show up in the search, you probably don't have to promote your listings. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll let my listings run through the 30 days and then I will promote them at 1 or 2%. So I'm just gonna show you some of my promoted listings that have sold. Okay, so this is my promoted listing dashboard, and this tells me what items have sold on promoted listings. So for my ad fees of $10.11, I sold $581 and 13 items. So that was definitely worth it. Now, would these items have sold without promoted listings? I don't know. So you only get charged on promoted listings when that item sells. So it's a really low risk way to advertise your items to more buyers. Okay, this one's for Billiana Severson, and they want to know how I decide what items to sell. And again, I'm gonna refer you to that video on how I run comps. I think that's really gonna help you to figure out what items you should buy. This one is from Lake MI Flips, and they ask, when you sell another item on another platform, what is the best choice to pick when canceling your item on eBay? Does it matter which one you pick? Okay, no, it doesn't really matter as long as the item has not already sold. So let's say your item sells on Mercari and your item is still active on eBay. You just go to End Item, and then I usually just click Item no longer available. Don't overthink it, just click that because that's the truth, it's no longer available. Okay, the Addict Toys ask, at what point is it time to buy a subscription? The simple answer to that is when you run through your free listings. So you should have 250 free listings to use every single month. If you find that you are going through those free listings and your listing fee is exceeding the price of a store, that's when you should get a store subscription. Okay, if you don't know which store to get, you can go to this eBay store option selector and it'll help you decide which one to get. I think most people are going to be good with getting this basic store, and it's only $22 per month, and that's for 1,000 free fixed price listings, free because you're paying for it. And 250 free auction listings in select categories. In my experience, that's been very, very select. I rarely have an item that fits in one of those select auction categories, but then again, I rarely run an auction, so it's not a big deal to me. And keep in mind, when it says 1,000 listings a month, that also includes relist. So if your item did not sell within that 30 days and it gets relisted, that counts as a completely new listing. So let's say you have 500 items in your store right now and you did not sell anything in that duration of a month and they relist, that's 1,000 right there. Now, hopefully that's not happening to you, but that's just an example. So if you find that you're going through more than that 1,000, you need to be looking at the premium store, and that's a huge jump in monthly fee and listings there. So you're going to have to do the math a little bit on this to see which one you're gonna need, or use the eBay selector tool up here, and they'll do all the work for you. Okay, and with your subscription, you're also going to get a $25 coupon every single quarter to use towards eBay branded supplies. These are things like poly mailers and padded envelopes. They also have boxes, tapes, things like that. So that's $100 of free supplies that you're going to get every single month. So do consider that when you're considering the price of the store. That kind of drops it by $100, especially if these are things that you're going to buy anyways or you need anyways. Vintage_Kansas City asks, besides the $25 quarter shipping, supplies, gift certificate, and the added free listings, what are the benefits of paying to have an eBay store as opposed to a regular seller's account? Okay, I think the biggest perk is the time away feature, which means if you're going on vacation, you can easily set your time away to when you're coming back. It's a little bit harder if you do not have a store. You can just change your handling time. It's just a little bit harder. And when you have a store, you can also set up coupons and promotions. Okay, from Vanis Trends, they say, how do you make consistent sales on eBay? Also, do you have a store subscription? Is it worth it? Yes, having a store subscription is worth it for the reasons I've mentioned above. And how do you make consistent sales on eBay? List. That's it. So the more items you have in your store, the more sales you have the possibility of making. So the way I'm going to compare this is to if you're going into a Dollar General or a Walmart. Obviously, Walmart is going to sell way more stuff than Dollar General because they have way more items. So you also want to make sure that you're buying things that people want. You're buying things with good sell-through rate. You're describing your items well. You're taking great pictures. Things like that. Also, I send out offers every day. Every time something pops up that I could set an offer on, I do that. Basically, just being active in your eBay store is going to help you get more sales. But the most important thing is just to list. I don't think you have to list a certain number every day or list a certain number of days. I just think having the correct items in your store is what's going to be the most helpful. I have several questions from Pambroy Banks, and I'm going to just go over them one by one. The first one is, how do I know how much I made? eBay is pretty dang complicated, so they have different fees on their items. So the easiest thing that I find is to go to finalfeecalc.com, and that will help you figure out how much money you're going to make on each individual item. Now, eBay does take fees off of the entire pie, the entire thing that you sold. That includes taxes and shipping. So you need to really consider that when you are selling something, pricing things, and deciding what to buy. Because it's not just taking, let's say, a 10% or a 15% fee off of the selling price. It's including that whole enchilada. Now, the reason eBay does this is because of the beginning times. Way back when eBay started, people used to sell their items at 99 cents and then have like $200 shipping on it. Because the final value fee used to only be taken off of the item selling price, like the 99 cents. And people were just, having their handling fees at the higher price and pocketing that money. So eBay got wise to that and they decided, no more, we're taking everything. Okay, the next part of their question is why shipping costs post as a range until the item sells. That could be two different things possibly. If you have two different shipping options, then it's going to show, like, let's say first class shipping could be $3 and then your priority mail shipping could be $8. So it's going to show $3 to $8. Another thing that could be happening is if it's showing a range from like the United States possibly, like if it's showing the buyer is near you and it could be $3, but if it's going to, let's say, California, it could be $5 to ship there. Okay, the next part of their questions is requiring immediate pay hampering sales. No. I have requiring immediate pay on every single item. I'm not Kmart. This is not layaway. So if you don't have the money now, you don't need to be shopping. There is 0 places where you can take something off the market and they will hold it for you unless it's a layaway type program and they're giving you money. And again, I'm not Kmart, and Kmart's out of business, so this is a bad practice. Yeah, so I require buy it now on all listings. The only time people can get away with that is if it's an auction or if they are accepting an offer that you sent. Then they have several days to pay. I do have my settings at the lowest setting that eBay allows you to have, which I believe is 4 days. Okay, the next part of their question is how to feel comfortable with global sales. I have GSP on every single item that I have, and it's only getting sent to Kentucky, so as long as you can have your items sent to Kentucky safely, you are 100% good to go, and there you go. Okay, this one is from Belvedere Vintage, and they say, how do you deal with taxes? I get by with TurboTax, but it always is so stressful and confusing. Also, with managed payments, do you think taxes will be easier and more streamlined? Yes, because now with managed payments, all of your fees are within the eBay platform. Before, you used to have to consider also your PayPal fees, so now we're just dealing with eBay's fees, so I do think it's going to be easier. Okay, so now for taxes, I'm not a tax professional. I don't play with on TV. And so I'm just going to tell you what I personally do. So this is not tax advice and other legal disclaimers. But this is basically what you should be doing is keeping track of how much the item sells for. And then you need to subtract out all your selling fees. So the shipping costs, the selling fees that eBay charges you, and the cost of that item. And what's left over is going to be your net profit, and that's what you're getting taxed on. So you should be keeping track of that. I keep track of mine every single day, every time I sell an item. So tax season is really easy for me. Okay, DLP Marketplace says, eBay confuses me. Can you explain the breakdown of their fees? I wish it was more user-friendly like Poshmark and Mercari where you could see everything in one shot. Also, what's the deal with insertion fees at 35 cents a post? Okay, so again, you should have about 250 listings that are free every single month. If you are going through that, get a store like I mentioned before. Okay, so eBay is not that transparent with their fees. It's not like on Poshmark or Mercari where you type in your item is selling for $20 and they're going to tell you you're going to make $15 or $18 or whatever the heck it is that you're going to make. The fees really vary by what you are selling, what category you're selling. They're all different. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 20% basically, plus a 30% listing final value fee. Here's some of the fees here, and you can see it's just really all over the place. 12.55%, 14.55%. I mean, 12.35%. I mean, it's pretty crazy amounts that they have on here. There is no rhyme or reason that I can tell. And you know, it is what it is. That's, I guess, what you pay for selling on the most popular reselling platform. But if you do want to know how much you're going to make, I do recommend going to Final Fee Calc, and you can just type in what your selling price is, your shipping charges, your cost, your item costs, and it will tell you how much you will make. So let's just do, for the example, I'm going to sell something for $25, and the shipping charge is $8, and I'm just going to type in that's the buyer paid the same amount. And then let's say I paid $5 for the item, and I don't have an eBay store or anything like that, and it's going to tell me I'm going to make $15.56 off of that item. That's just really helpful. This is pretty accurate. You can either go further down into the different categories if you want to get a more specific idea. So let's say I do it in books and magazines. You could say that I'm only going to make $14.90 because of that fee structure. Okay, this one's from Alex Feeble. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. It says, I started selling on eBay a few months ago and it's going well, but I didn't really think about it when tax times comes. That's going to bite me in the butt. It's going to be okay as long as you're keeping track of the item costs that you have. At the end of the year, if you have sold more than $600, eBay is going to send you a tax form, you know, come tax time. So probably January, February, sometime around there. They'll send you everything that you need. If you want to do it before then, you're just going to go into your reports and then look at all your shipping costs and your eBay fees. And again, what's really most important is your net at the end, because that's what you're going to get taxed on. Okay, this one is from KRH College Cash. Do you offer free shipping or have buyers pay? Do you ship internationally or use the GSP? How easy is using GSP? I never offer free shipping. I've never done it. I use calculated shipping on all of my items. Yes, I use the GSP program. I love using GSP. I send at least 1 or 2 items to the global shipping program every single week. And using GSP is super easy. It's no different than sending an item within the United States. It just goes to Kentucky, as a matter of fact, and they take care of everything for you. They take care of all the customs information. So you're not going to really see anything on your end except just going to say it's going to Kentucky, and that's really the only way you would know if you were paying attention. It's not going to be like you have to fill out a customs form that says what the item is and the value or anything like that. They literally do everything for you. Okay, this next question is from Gray Barn Door, and it is a multi-part question. So the first part of it is, I have always been intimidated by shipping globally. eBay seems to be so complicated when you create a listing. Do you have any tips for me? Your options in your settings, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to show you how to set up the global shipping program. It's really easy. So from the home page, you're just going to go to your name here, and then you're going to click Account Settings, and you're going to scroll down. Okay, so to use the global shipping program, it's really easy to set up. You're just going to go into your shipping preferences, and then it's going to say Global Shipping Program right here, and I'm already enrolled, but if you click Edit, this is where you enroll into this program. It's super easy to use. I highly, highly recommend it to everybody. Okay, this next one is from rcox1995, and they have 2 questions. The first part is, I messed up shipping dimensions and had to edit the label and they charged me double. Okay, so on shipping, if your item is pretty much over 1 cubic foot, that's going to be like 12 by 12 by 12 around, or 36 inches around. The cheapest way to ship is going to be through FedEx or UPS, and you can edit which shipping service you use and to see if they have a cheaper rate. So if USPS is, let's say, $25 and FedEx is $13, feel free to change that as long as the item is going to get to the buyer in the same amount of time. So that's what you need to do there, or you could do there. You could also check pirate ship. Sometimes they have cheaper rates, but if you have a store subscription on eBay, generally those rates are going to match pirate ship. But if you don't, definitely check there. Okay, in the next part of their question, they said, I'm not sure why my 90-day total is $232 when the product they sold was for $190. Okay, so 90-day totals show the whole enchilada yet again. It's going to show what the item sold for, the sales tax, and shipping. Everything. So that's why I personally don't like it when people share 90-day totals. It doesn't give any kind of picture to the success at all. So just keep that in mind, and that's why those two numbers are completely different. Okay, I had a lot of questions on shipping. Shipping is the #1 reason people are so confused about selling on eBay, and it is complicated, kinda. But once you get your shipping policy set up, it is definitely easy, but you do need to know what you're doing. So we have this question from GenCan Muse, K_XOXO18 and Erica.1782. Everyone has a question about shipping. So I'm going to show you what my shipping policies are, and these are probably the same ones that you want to go ahead and set up in your store. I just have very basic policies. Okay, so to set up your shipping policies, these are in your Manage Your Business Policies option. You can change your payment policies, your return policies, and your shipping policies. So I have several different shipping policies, as you can see, set up. Some of these I have just set up for individual ones. You can see I didn't have that many that's sold there. So I'm just going to show you my top view of what I have set up. So this first one, is items that I'm going to send first class mail. So anything that's under a pound can be sent first class mail, the cheapest. Okay, so I have it set as calculated. So that means that buyers that are closer to you are going to pay less, and then buyers that are further to you are going to pay more. That's just like when you're going to the post office. You can also change it where it's a flat rate to all buyers, freight, no shipping, where it's going to be local pickup only. But I just do calculated shipping for every single person. That's going to be the most accurate. Okay. And then my handling time is 3 days. You could change that to whatever you feel comfortable with. Personally, I like 3 days because it gives me a little leeway in case something happens. But there are other options. You can go up to 30 business days. I do have a handling cost of $1 on my items, and that kind of helps recoup any fees that I have associated with buying like the packing material, like tape, bubble wrap, maybe a little bit of fees that eBay charges me. Buyers do not see your handling fee. I figure I can get away with $1 pretty easily, and I do. So I've always had that $1 handling fee on there. Okay, and this is where you're going to see about the global shipping option. So you're just going to click this box if you want these items to be sent to your global shipping. My next option that I have, you can see I have 325 listings at this option, is for larger items. So I have this one set up for USPS Priority Mail and FedEx Ground and UPS Retail Ground. So that gives the buyer choices of 3 different shipping options, and they can pick whatever one they like, whatever happens to be cheapest for them. Sometimes it's Priority Mail, sometimes it's FedEx. It really depends. So this option gives them more choices. They could pick again. Okay, so my next one is for my larger items, anything that's over a pound, but is not going to be more than a cubic foot. So I'm going to show you how I have this one set up. Okay, so this one, again, I have it calculated shipping, and I have it set up where they can choose Priority Mail, FedEx Ground, or USPS Retail Ground. So they could select whatever one they'd like there. You could also add UPS in there if you'd like, whatever. You can add as many services as you'd like. Okay, my next one is going to be for my large items. These are going to be anything that's over a cubic foot. So, and that's what I have it labeled as, large items. And these are going to be sent FedEx or UPS Ground. I also have USPS Priority Mail as an option there. Very few people are going to select that. Everything else is the same. Okay, my next one is padded flat rate, and it's exactly what it says. Those are going to be things that are going to be pretty heavy, and things like jeans or a jacket, something that I can stick in one of those free padded flat rate envelopes, and that's the only option I have on there. I have one set up for ground shipping, and these are going to be things like aerosols, paints, perfumes, stuff that cannot be sent on the airplane. So it needs to be ground shipping only. So I have this sent up for USPS Parcel Select Ground and FedEx Ground. And I also do have one for media mail. I don't sell a whole lot of books that are going to be super heavy where I want to send them media mail. I don't do this very often, but I do have this option set up. Okay, so the most important thing when selling on eBay is that you are using a scale and measuring your items. Extremely, extremely important. I have an Accutek scale that I use with an offboard reading, and I'll put the link to mine down below in the comments. Okay, so when you're also shipping items, you have got to include your shipping measurements. So I usually just add, like if I'm going to put it in a box, I add about a pound. Sometimes more. If it's going to be something breakable, I'll add 2 to 3 pounds, because you have to consider the box weight, your bubble wrap, your styrofoam. All that stuff adds weight to your item. It's also going to add inches. So generally I'll probably add maybe 5 to 6 inches, especially again if it's a breakable and I have to double box that item. So it's better that you go over on your measurements and over on your pound estimate than to go under, because you don't really want to undercharge the buyer and then you have to eat that additional shipping cost. And even if you're shipping something in a poly mailer, you have got to include that in there. So that's usually only like a few ounces, 2 to 3 ounces, but again, make sure. So if you have something that's 15 ounces with no mailer, it's going to be over a pound after you add that mailer in there. And also, when you're putting in your weight on your items, you need to round up. So if it says 14.8 ounces, that's 15 ounces. If it says, even if it says 14.2, heck, put in 15 ounces, because there might be a slight variance between your scale and the postal scale. And you probably will get charged for any overage. That will get taken out of your account, not the customer's account. Okay, and this last one is from Rebecca from Florida. She said, what is the craziest eBay story you've had? Like crazy buyer, crazy item, crazy return. I really had to think about this one, because after selling stuffed animals and blankets and stuff like that for $100 to $200 in this last year, I'm kind of not fazed by very much anymore. But my most interesting, so I don't know if I have a crazy story necessarily, but last week I sent off something to be a prop on a TV show called Physical, and that's on Apple TV, and it was just a hamper that I sold. So I'm really excited to see if maybe I can spot that on that show. I don't know if that counts as a crazy story, but that's kind of what I got off the top of my head. Okay, and that's all for this video. I hope I've answered any eBay questions that you have. And if you're not already selling there, I hope I've inspired you to do so. It is a little intimidating, but once you get started, it really does get easier. If you have any more eBay questions, please comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a great big thumbs up. If you're not already, please remember to subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bye!